Okay, this next series will be about phase 2 core strengthening exercises. So these will be the next step up from phase 1, just things that are a little bit more challenging, more dynamic, just to engage those core muscles more. So this first one we'll show you is the bridge technique, but it will be on a Swiss ball. And the Swiss ball is going to want to move a little more, so it'll be more dynamic and challenge a lot of those accessory muscles to the core. So what you'll do is kind of gauge where the Swiss ball is. Closer to you will be easier, further away will be harder. I suggest you start closer to you. First, master that and then work your way out. So you'll lift again, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, pushing through the Swiss ball, holding 5 to 10 seconds 10 times. Again, the ball just adds another dynamic to the exercise. And she'll do one further out, and you can see you have a longer access, a little harder, more challenging to do. So that's bridges on the Swiss ball. The next exercises in the series will be called planks. So we showed you a modified plank in phase 1. This will be a full plank, which will be on your toes and your forearms, and then you're lifting up everything in between that. Again, if you're got to 20 seconds, 30 seconds on a modified plank, start with 5 or 10 seconds here on this full plank and kind of work your way up. Again, keeping everything tight, glutes tight, pushing up through the mid-spine, making a tabletop position. So that's a full plank. The next one in the series, what we call side planks. We'll show you the modified way first. These are a little more challenging than what we call front planks, or the regular plank. The modified, again, you'll be on your knees and your forearms, and you'll be lifting up the hip that's not on the table towards the ceiling. And you'll feel this kind of in your abdominals and your obliques, which are on kind of the flank of the side of your trunk there. Again, start with kind of that 5 to 10 second range, 5 reps. Work your way up to that 20 seconds, doing both sides. And then here's the non-modified version. Is again, lifting from your feet. Now that top arm you could kind of lift towards the ceiling, adds another, again, dynamic, a little more challenging. Now some common ways that people cheat on this exercise is you kind of let that top shoulder roll forward. You want to keep it up towards that ceiling and back. So sometimes having that arm up helps. And you want to be draw in a straight line from your ears to your hips to your knees to your feet. One should not be in front or back of each other. Again, not letting that shoulder roll forward. So if you feel like you're doing this regular side plank and you're just struggling, maybe go to the modified and hold it a little longer and work on form. As I said in phase 1, form is everything with these exercises, especially the planks. So the next exercise in the series will be called Quadruped, and that means your hands and knees. This is often termed like a bird dog, or we just kind of say like an opposite leg and arm. So you'll be in this quadruped position. You're going to kind of do that TA that we talked about in phase 1. So you're going to draw the belly button up towards that spine, and then you're going to go extending the right leg and left arm. This is a mental exercise too, people. Holding for about 3 seconds, 5 seconds, somewhere in there, and then you're alternate. Then you're going to go right arm, left leg. Good. And you can see how she's keeping good form. Now, a way that people often cheat on this one is you're going to engage your lumbar rotators. And you can see where that right hip starts to come way high and that left hip sinks. Try not to let that happen, even if that means not bringing the leg up as high and keeping it lower and getting that first, and then really working on your way to where you get that fully extended. So go to the fully extended position, Becca. So it would be that's where you kind of want to end. That would be the true perfect form there. But if you can't get to that, start with it lower first so you can work on form. And as your strength comes, you'll kind of get that range of motion later. So that's kind of quadruped position. The next exercise will be that posterior pelvic tilt that we showed you in phase 1, and then we're going to kind of add some movement and dynamic to that as well. So we call these a posterior pelvic tilt with taps. So you'll bring your knees up and your feet up in a 90-90 position, meaning your knee is 90 degrees of flexion and then your hips are 90 degrees of flexion as well. So you'll do that posterior pelvic tilt. So flatten your spine against the table, and while you're doing that, you're maintaining breathing, and you're going to lower the left heel towards the table, tap, and back up. Don't let it plop onto the table. Let it tap, back up. Good. Alternating back and forth, slow and controlled. If you feel like your back is arching while you're doing this, you're not able to hold that posterior pelvic tilt, this is probably too advanced for you, and you should probably go back to the regular pelvic tilts on phase 1 and really focus on maybe holding longer, maybe more reps, and maybe doing some of the other exercises in phase 1 and maybe some of the phase 2 exercises that aren't as challenging for you until you're ready to do this exercise. And that's phase 2.